Ever dream of just packing it all up and working from literally anywhere? Well, today we're going to dig into the nitty-gritty, the actual tech that makes that whole van life dream a reality. Let's get into it.
This whole thing, it really starts with a dream, right? For a lot of us, it's this idea we kick around for years. After 2 decades of reviewing tech, our source here finally said, you know what? I'm doing it. He created a mobile lab, basically, to live, work, and just see where the road takes him. So that's the big question, isn't it? It's awesome to have the van, but making it a functional office, that's a whole different ballgame. It's not just about having a bunch of gadgets, it's about having the right ones. So let's break down what actually gets the job done.
Okay, first things first. Before we talk about anything else, we have to talk about power and internet. Honestly, without these two, nothing else matters. This is the bedrock, the absolute foundation for making this lifestyle work. So when it comes to power, you've basically got 2 ways you can go. The simple route is a big standalone power station. You just plop it in the van, easy, but you're always running cables to it, and it can be kind of clunky. The other way, an integrated system. This is where you have a central battery that's wired to actual outlets throughout the van. Yeah, it's more work to set up, but man, it is so much more convenient. So, how much juice do you actually need? Well, for 2 people working full-time, we're talking laptops, monitors, kitchen stuff, you're looking at about 1.6 kilowatt hours a day. With a big 8 kilowatt hour battery system, that gives you about 5 days of power before you even have to think about recharging. So the real question becomes, how do you keep that thing topped up? And the answer is, you don't rely on just one thing. You need a multi-layered strategy. First, while you're driving, an alternator charger is pulling in a solid 800 watts right from the engine. Then you've got 400 watts of solar panels up on the roof, working anytime the sun is out. And for those days when you're parked in a really sunny spot, you can unfold another 400 watts of ground panels. It's a brilliant way to make sure you're always collecting energy.
All right, power sorted, let's talk internet. You might think, oh, I'll just use my phone's hotspot. Well, even with 4 different cell plans across 2 phones, the speeds were usually stuck around 15 to 20 megabits per second. You just can't do professional video calls with that, and then the Starlink Mini came along. Just look at that difference. We're talking 120, even 200 megabits per second. This right here is the one piece of tech that truly makes working from anywhere possible. It's an absolute game changer.
Okay, so you've got power, you've got internet. Awesome. But where are you actually going to work? Now we get to see how you can build a really productive, comfortable office inside a very, very small space. It's all about being clever and flexible.
See, you don't have just one desk. You have 3 options. There's a folding desk for those beautiful days when you just have to work outside. Then the bed frame itself, it actually converts into a standing desk. How cool is that? But the real workhorse, the real MVP, is the Lagoon table. It's on this swiveling mount, it's super adjustable, and it ends up being the go-to spot for getting work done inside.
And what are you plugging in at that desk? This is a key piece of gear, the espresso display. If you're someone who needs a second monitor to be productive, this thing is perfect. It's crazy thin, it's made of tough aluminum, but the best part? One single USB-C cable for both power and video. No extra clutter, no fuss, it's just the perfect mobile second screen. Right, so the office is set up. You can definitely work from the van, but can you actually live in it comfortably? Now we're going to look at the gadgets that take this thing from just a workspace to a real home on wheels. Let's do a little kitchen tech rapid fire, shall we? A 12-volt fridge? Yep, absolute necessity. An induction cooktop for cooking? Also a necessity. The espresso machine? Look, for some of us, that's just critical for survival. And an air fryer? Total luxury, but making crispy food in the middle of a forest is pretty amazing. The little capsule dishwasher, though, nope. Uses way too much power, way too much water, definitely not worth it. And you can talk about all the fancy tech you want, but what about the absolute basics, like clean water? This quote is all about that. The Dometic Go Jug with a LifeStraw filter is just a simple, reliable system for fresh drinking water. You don't need complicated plumbing. Something simple and effective like this is totally non-negotiable. Okay, so we've looked at a ton of gear. After months of real-world testing on the road, what's the final verdict? What are the things you absolutely must have? And what are the things that are just a distraction? Let's get to it. First up, the absolute non-negotiable necessities. And what's really interesting is that they aren't the most high-tech or expensive things we've talked about, not by a long shot. So what are the 2 most critical items?
Believe it or not, it's an app and a light. The Park4Night app gets used every single day to find safe, legal, and sometimes amazing places to sleep. And a good headlamp, it's vital. You need your hands free for cooking, for fixing something, for walking the dog. Don't get a flashlight, get a headlamp. It makes all the difference.
All right, now for the other side of that coin. Let's talk about the gadgets that sound really cool, but in the real world of van life, they just don't make the cut.
A portable projector from movie nights under the stars, it sounds incredible, right? Well, the reality was the battery died before the movie was even over. Your laptop screen is just way more reliable. And we already talked about the mini dishwasher. It's a resource vampire, sucking up your precious power and water. These are the kinds of things that are more of a distraction than a help.
And this really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? The whole point isn't just to fill the van with gadgets. The bad tech, it just gets in the way. But the good tech, it disappears. It just works, and it enables the real magic of this lifestyle, the freedom, the random encounters, the beautiful places you just stumble upon. That's serendipity. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's not the gear. The goal is the journey. The right tech is just a tool that lets you go out and find those unexpected, incredible moments. It's about finding your own serendipity. So the real question is, what would yours look like?